This episode of Nerdist News is sponsored by Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Here are 5 ways how the Emperor could still be alive in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Folks, we are less than a month out from Star Wars Episode 9 completing the Skywalker saga with the aptly titled The Rise of Skywalker. And there are still so many questions that need answers, like, who were Rey's parents? Nobody. Who was Snoke? Nobody. And who's gonna hate this film?
Sam.
Nobody. Oh man. I'm sure the comment section will agree with me. But one of the biggest questions that still needs to be resolved is the surprise reappearance of the entire series' major villain. We are of course talking about that Naboo senator turned Sith Lord turned Emperor, Sheev Palpatine. I know some of you thought I was gonna say Jar Jar, but think again. That's episode 10. And since the trailers for the film revealed that somehow the Emperor somehow survived getting shafted on the Death Star 2, fans have been going into overdrive trying to figure out exactly how this could be possible.
That's impossible!
So right now, we're gonna break down 5 ways that Palpatine could make his triumphant return in episode 9.
Do it.
All right, let's start with a plausible explanation. Clones!
That's why I'm here.
From their attacks to their wars, clones are a massive part of the Star Wars story and Palpatine's story, since he's the dude that orchestrated this whole thing to seize control of the galaxy in the first place. Could he have perhaps cloned himself, then maybe passed his essence onto a newly cloned body? Sounds gross, but it's possible.
That's why I'm here.
And it's also a concept that's already been explored in old Star Wars Expanded Universe canon, now called Legends. In the Dark Empire comic series, Palpatine does exactly that. He transfers his soul into a new clone body. And while this story is no longer considered canon, there's an aspect from that story that is. The comic features the Emperor's personal superstar destroyer, the Eclipse, which has its own Death Star laser built into it, hidden in the galaxy's core after his death, just waiting for his return. And the Star Wars Aftermath novel Empire's End introduced us to a different version of the Emperor's personal superstar destroyer, also called the Eclipse. But this time it was hidden in the unknown regions of the galaxy after Palpatine's death. Seems suspicious, right? Well, the Episode 9 trailers show off a fleet of Star Destroyers with Death Star laser tech, presumably which were hidden in the unknown regions. So, it's entirely possible they also lifted the clone Palpatine plot as well.
Your clones are very impressive. You must be very proud.
The second way we could see Palpatine is the no-body option. I'm talking about some sort of Force ghost. While in the films we've only seen Jedi as Force ghost, and indeed it is Qui-Gon Jinn who taught Obi-Wan and Yoda how to become a Force ghost, we don't know much about what happens to dark side users after their deaths. After all,
It's not a story the Jedi would tell you.
now we do see in the Clone Wars cartoon that Yoda talks to a dark side specter who may be a ghost of legendary Sith Lord Darth Bane, but this also may just be an illusion to scare people away from an ancient Sith temple. You know, kind of like when they brought Tupac back to Coachella. Episode 9 could put the debate to rest once and for all by finally showing us if the Sith can become Force ghosts as well. But this method seems less plausible to us since, in all likelihood, we saw a couple frames of Palpatine's fingers in the final trailer for Episode 9, which, I don't know about you, implies a real body and not just a spirit of some sort. You can't have ghost fangs.
What, you think you're some kind of Jedi waving your hand around like that?
That said, our third option expands on this Force ghost option with possession. It's 9/10 of the law, especially when it comes to ghosts, and it's highly possible that the spirit of Palpatine might try to take over the body of either Kylo Ren or Rey.
Do you have something, a cowl or something you can put on?
The evidence for Rey is pretty straightforward. Perhaps that glimpse of some sort of dark Rey was really just Palpatine possessing her body. But the evidence for Kylo is a bit more layered. In The Force Awakens, we see Kylo Ren just chilling with his dead grandpa, Darth Vader's helmet, and asking his dear departed granddaddy to show him the power of darkness. Again. But Darth Vader isn't Darth Vader any longer. He renounced evil and became Anakin Skywalker at the end of Return of the Jedi. That's why we got a Force ghost of Anakin who was eventually replaced by Hayden Christensen, like all of our ghosts eventually will be.
You underestimate my power!
So just who could old Ben Swolo be talking to that's pretending to be Darth Vader? Well, it's probably not Snoke since Kylo mentions him in that same scene, but maybe, and just maybe, it was Palpatine's evil spirit, which would be a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Our fourth option for Palpatine's return is Mecha Palpatine. They had the technology. They rebuilt him, and yeah, I know it sounds like we're making a joke, but I don't know, it's not that far-fetched. If Darth Maul could, in Star Wars canon, survive getting cut in half and getting shafted as well, only to use his pure hatred to make some sort of weird mechanical spider body that he replaces with robot legs, then I don't know. What about the much more powerful Palpatine? I bet he could probably do something as well. Don't roll your eyes too much at this, because if Mecha Palpatine shows up in Episode 9, I will personally come to your home or place of work and tell you I told you so to your smug face. Is that too much? And the fifth and final way we think Palpatine could return in The Rise of Skywalker is admittedly a bit more mysterious and murky than the rest, and it ties into Palpatine's old Sith master Darth Plagueis the Wise. This theory heavily refers to the scene in Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, where Palpatine tempts Anakin Skywalker to the dark side with tales of how Darth Plagueis used the dark side to defeat death, and heavily implied that Palpatine killed Plagueis once he learned his secret.
Ironic.
Meaning that if Palpatine knew how to defeat death, then he never died in the first place. I mean, look, we never saw a body. Sure, he fell down a near bottomless pit into a power reactor that definitely exploded immediately after, but I don't know, maybe that's not enough to kill such a powerful Sith Lord. Show us the body! Honestly though, if you look through this list, the most likely answer is probably a combination of two or more of these reasons. Unless of course the answer is Mecha Palpatine, in which case we'll just have to wait until Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker hits theaters on December 20th so I can rub it in your face. But what do you folks think? How do you think Palpatine will return in Episode 9? I mean, it's gotta be Mecha Palpatine, right?
No.
Right? Please say right, because I have a lot of money riding on this.
No.
A lot. Anyway, are there any theories you might have as well? I don't know. Let's discuss. Who cares? It's gotta be Mecha Palpatine.
No.
Thanks again to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for sponsoring today's episode. You play Cal Kestis, a Jedi Padawan who narrowly escaped the purge of Order 66 following the events of Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. On a quest to rebuild the Jedi Order, you must pick up the pieces of your shattered past to complete your training, develop new powerful Force abilities, and master the art of the iconic lightsaber, all while staying one step ahead of the Empire and its deadly Inquisitors. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is available now on Xbox One, PS4, and PC.